Before he became an emperor, before he conquered Europe, he was just a young man from a small island with nothing but ambition. His name was Napoleon Bonaparte, a man who would rise from almost nothing to become one of the most powerful leaders in history, a man who would win battles against impossible odds, and a man who would eventually lose everything. This is not just a story of power, it's a story of ambition, war, and one final mistake that changed everything. He wasn't born into power. He wasn't even French, at least not fully, but he would go on to control most of Europe. Born in 1769 on the island of Corsica, Napoleon grew up as an outsider. He spoke French with an accent. He was often mocked, but he had something others didn't: relentless ambition. At a young age, he joined the military. Not because he had connections, but because he was brilliant. He studied strategy obsessively. While others slept, Napoleon read. While others followed orders, he analyzed battles, and slowly he began to rise. Then came the French Revolution. France was in chaos. The monarchy had fallen. The country needed strong leaders, and Napoleon saw his chance. During a rebellion in Paris, he was given command. His orders were simple: stop the uprising. He didn't hesitate. He used artillery to crush the rebels quickly. It was ruthless, but effective. And overnight, Napoleon became a national hero. From that moment on, his rise was unstoppable. He was given command of the French army in Italy, and this is where he changed everything. His army was weak, undersupplied, outnumbered. But Napoleon didn't fight like others. He moved faster, attacked smarter, and divided enemy forces. One by one, he defeated armies much larger than his own. Victory after victory. His name spread across Europe. Then came Egypt. A bold campaign, but not a successful one. His fleet was destroyed, and his army was stranded. For the first time, Napoleon faced failure, but instead of collapsing, he did something unexpected. He returned to France and took control. In 1799, Napoleon seized power, not as a king, but as first consul. Soon after, he crowned himself emperor, not chosen by royalty, but by himself. And now, France wasn't just a country. It was an empire. Under Napoleon, France dominated Europe. He reformed laws, built strong institutions, and created the Napoleonic Code, which still influences laws today. But his true power was on the battlefield. His greatest victory came at Austerlitz, often called his masterpiece. He tricked enemy forces into attacking at the wrong moment, then struck back with devastating precision. It was a perfect victory, and after that, no one could ignore him. But power has a cost, and Napoleon wanted more. In 1812, he made his biggest mistake. Russia, he invaded with over 600,000 soldiers, one of the largest armies ever assembled. At first, everything went as planned. But the Russians didn't fight normally. They retreated, burning everything behind them. No food, no shelter, no resources. Napoleon pushed deeper and deeper until he reached Moscow, but the city was empty, and soon after it was set on fire. Winter arrived, and with it, death, cold, hunger, disease. Napoleon's army collapsed. From 600,000 soldiers, only a fraction returned. It was a disaster, and Europe saw it. His enemies united, battle after battle. Napoleon began to lose, until finally, he was forced to surrender. He was exiled, sent to a small island called Elba. It should have been the end. But Napoleon wasn't finished. Less than a year later, He escaped, returned to France, and something unbelievable happened. His former soldiers joined him again. Even the army sent to stop him refused to fight. He marched to Paris and took power again. This period is known as the 100 Days. One last chance, one final gamble, and it all came down to one battle: Waterloo. Napoleon faced a powerful alliance, the British, the Prussians. The odds were against him. The battle began, and for a moment, it looked like history might repeat itself. But then, mistakes were made. Timing failed. Reinforcements arrived for the enemy, and Napoleon's army collapsed. This time, there was no comeback. He was captured, exiled again, but not to a nearby island. This time, to St. Helena, a remote island in the middle of the ocean. No escape, no return. Years passed. The man who once ruled Europe was now alone, far from power, far from everything. In 1821, Napoleon Bonaparte died, not in battle, not in glory, but in exile. Yet his legacy remained. He changed warfare, redefined leadership, and proved one thing: even the greatest rise can fall, but few leave a mark like he did.